What's up, world? This is Rico. Today I want to do something that I really enjoy doing, and that's defending the truth. The truth that I defend, I'm willing to live or die for it. So by all means, I give all that I can to get this truth out, because I feel that we're living in the last days. We only have less than a decade before Christ is coming back. And when he comes back, he's coming back with wrath. So it's very important for Christians on earth to know what the truth is, so that when that sky crack open and Christ appear in the clouds with all his saints, that all Christians can glory at his presence and not be ashamed and not mourn. There's a video out by somebody by the name of Vekl, V-E-K-L, on YouTube, and he did a video, and you know, he was calling out Open Air Preacher, Holy Spirit Dwells, DeMario. He was calling out Lil Dog 73, Jesse Morale, and these are all people that speak out against sin. So he made a video disputing people who speak out against sin. Now, if we're all Christians, then sin should be our fight every day. There should be no justification for sin whatsoever. So let me address this video that was made by Vekl. It's called Sin is Sin. I agree with you. Sin is sin. There is no sin greater than no sin. But he starts the video off saying how Christians are going to sin every once in a while. Well, Vekl, maybe somebody torn some pages out of my Bible, because I never came across that verse that said Christians are going to sin every once in a while. Maybe you can email me that verse where it says specifically that Christians are going to sin every once in a while, and then I can read that verse for myself, and then I can be enlightened. Now, one thing that I do know that the Bible speaks of is, before I read this, because Vekl, I guess his point of view is this: every Christian is going to sin, because there's going to always be sins out there that you don't know about. So whether you commit a sin that you know about, or if it's a sin that you're ignorant of, the point is sin, and you are guilty of both. Okay, so let me read this real quick. This is Hebrews chapter 5, verse 13 and 14. Verse 13, it says, "For everyone that uses milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe." So, true, you have a point there, because it says everyone that uses milk is unskillful in the word. So yeah, if a person is converted after hearing the word for the very first time yesterday, then yes, I believe that they will sin after their conversion, because there's going to be a lot of sins out there that they don't know about. So you do have a point as far as that go. But then when you look at verse 14, it says, "But strong meat belong to them that are of full age, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil." So if you're of strong meat, it says you have your senses exercised to discern both good and evil. So let's just say if there's a sin out there that you never heard of before. The point is, if you are of strong meat, you can discern between good and evil, because there's nothing new under the sun. And also, he quoted Psalms chapter 19, and it was 19:12, I believe, is what he read from. And that's a very interesting passage, and I'm so glad that he read from it. Now I just want to clear things up. Psalms 19:12. This is King David. It says, "Who can understand his errors? Cleanse thou me from secret faults." So in other words, and then he stopped right there. So in other words, what he was saying was that there was sins that David was committing that he was unaware of. So if David, being a man after God's own heart, can commit sins that he don't know of, then are we greater than David? I guess that was the point. Well, let me answer that. A lot of times you just have to read on to get the full meaning of what the writer was trying to say. Okay, I'm going to read verse 12 again, then I'm going to read down, then I'm going to explain exactly what David was talking about. Verse 12, "Who can understand his errors? Cleanse thou me from secret faults." 13, "Keep back thy servant also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then shall I be upright, and I shall be innocent from the great transgression. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be accepted in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer." Notice what he called the Lord, his redeemer. Now, I'm going to look at, now let me read it again slowly, and I'm going to explain it. It says, "Who can understand his errors? Cleanse thou me from secret faults." So cleanse, wash away. That's pretty, self-explanatory. He's saying, cleanse me from sins that I don't know about. So this is what David is asking God to do. Cleanse me from sins I don't know about. And then verse 13, it says, keep back thy servant also from presumptuous sins." So presumptuous sins will be the sins that I do know about. So he says, in other words, keep me away from sins I don't know about. Keep me away from sins I do know about. And then it says, let them not have dominion over me. So whether the sin be what I know about or a sin I'm unaware of, he says, let them not have dominion over me. Then shall I be upright, and I shall be innocent from the great transgression. What does innocent mean? Innocent is not guilty. So at the end of this verse, he says, I shall be innocent from the great transgression. The great transgression, whether it be a sin I don't know about or a sin that I do know about, he says, I shall be innocent from that great transgression. And then he says, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. Why would he call God his redeemer if God is not able to keep him from sinning, not able to free him from sins? That's what the passage is saying. Okay? And also, since we are in Psalms, let's look at Psalms 119, and it's verse 11. It says, now this is David again talking. It says, thy word have I hid in my heart, that I might not sin against thee. So if you want to use David as your example, use this verse also. Thy word have I hid in my heart, that I might not sin against thee. Okay. Now, the question that he loves to ask believers is, have you sinned since your conversion? I deal with that on part 2 of this video series addressing Vekl.